นี้เราจะให้คนในครอบครัวนะคะที่จะมากล่าวสิ่งที่เขาอยากจะแบ่งปันกับพวกเราและสรรเสริญคุณพ่อของเขาอย่างไรเราจึงขอมอบเวลาให้กับมิชและก็เมย์ที่จะขึ้นมากล่าวคำระลึกถึงคุณพ่อของเขา
And through celebration of life of Mr. Chartree, we let the son and daughter to say a few words.
แล้วก็ขอเชิญพูดเป็นภาษาอังกฤษไม่ต้องแปลเลยนะคะเพราะที่ประชุมคงจะฟังกันได้
In English.
Well, thank you everybody for coming. I haven't seen a lot of people here for like a long time since I was a kid, and so it's kind of weird to see everybody here in one place at my dad's funeral. But I'm really happy that everybody came together today just to celebrate my dad's life. I didn't write anything, and so I'm just gonna make it up on the spot. And I think my dad would expect that because I do everything last minute. But I guess what I really want to say is that me and my dad had a really complicated relationship. I think that's pretty common between fathers and sons in this world. Growing up, I didn't really see my dad as a human being. On days that I didn't have school, my mom would send me to his workplace at H&H Bagel in Midtown, and my dad would work from 3 a.m. till about noon, and then he would have me sit on this stool that he made me. He took a milk crate, and he'd take a piece of cardboard and put it on top and said, "Sit here and wait." And so I'd wait, but obviously I like to do whatever my dad says not to, so I didn't wait. I'd walk around, go out and get a croissant with cream cheese and jelly on it, go to the basement, bother his coworkers. But there were some days when I would just sit and look at my dad working, and he would take all the ingredients, put it in that big mixer, and it would make a huge dough. And I watched him carry the whole thing over to his workstation, and he would make bagels out of that. He would cut it, and then he would roll it. And sometimes he tried to teach me, but I could never be as good as he was, ever. And my dad worked really hard. Like, where he worked, it was like hot because they, to make bagels, you have to steam it and boil it. And so, I see my dad, he'd make all the bagels, he'd be dripping sweat. Sometimes he would cut his hands on the knife, but he would never complain. He'd just keep working and working till noon hit. And I thought my dad was kind of like a superhero, like he was invincible, just because he never really said anything about where he was working. Like, he worked pretty hard, but he just kept doing it. And so I kind of built this image in my head that my dad wasn't a human being. And so when I grew up, my dad and I butt heads a lot because of that. And I was a dumb kid, and I would say a lot of things to him because I felt like my dad didn't have any feelings. Because again, like when I grew up, I didn't think he was a human being. And the other thing that made me feel like my dad wasn't human is that he never actually told me that he loved me or anybody. Like, that wasn't my dad. He never really said anything. And if you do know my dad, he's a quiet person. And I would get really jealous at school because I'd hear my friends' dads tell them, "Oh, I love you," and my dad never did that for me. And I didn't really understand it. And again, because of that, I didn't really see my dad as a human being. And I know my dad tried to teach me a lot of stuff, like with the car and with the house, like fixing things, and I was like, I'm not gonna learn it because I wanna do my own stuff. Like, I wanna just do whatever I wanna do, and you know, I have all this time to learn it from you, or so I thought. But again, it's because I didn't think my dad was human. I thought he was gonna live forever. But for the past 2 years maybe, or 3 years, kind of towards the end of my dad's life, my dad started changing, and it first started when our dog Nala got cancer, and when she was diagnosed that day, the first person to break down was actually my dad. And it was really weird to see that from him because he didn't really show that emotion when we grew up at all. Not for my mom, not for me and my sister, but for a dog. And he like didn't even want Nala at first. I remember the first day I had her, I brought her home, and he came back home from Thailand, and he heard a dog barking. He's like, excuse my language, he's like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it. He said, what the fuck is this? And he said, you won't have this dog. You're gonna have to choose between me or her. And if you want this, it's gonna be over my dead body. It's funny because they're both up in heaven together right now. But anyways, yeah, my dad was the first person to break down when she got cancer. And again, like, it was really weird to see because I didn't think my dad had any feelings. And then when my dad got sick, those 2 years or so, year and a half, I would visit him in the hospital or the rehab center. And, you know, he had a lot going on. He had kidney disease, he had something with his heart, he had a back wound. And every time the nurses came to like take care of him or draw blood or whatever they were doing, take him to dialysis, I could see that my dad was, he would show pain, like he was in pain. And that was weird for me because as a kid, I'd sit and watch him make all these bagels, cut his hand with a knife, and he never said anything. But now he's like, but now looking at him in the hospital, he's painful. And I'm not used to seeing my dad in pain because then, like, he always kind of sucked it up. But then the other thing is, like, whenever I would leave the hospital or the rehab center, my dad would say to me, I love you. And I didn't know how to take that because he never said it to me when I was a kid. And I think every time I went to the hospital or the rehab center and visited him, I would always leave crying. I didn't understand why at first. At first I thought it was because he was sick, or that, you know, he missed being home and I felt bad for him, but I think the reason why I was crying after leaving is because I started realizing that my dad's actually human, and that he does express pain, and he does suffer, but that he also loves, and that he could express love. And so one of the things that I struggled with throughout those 2 years of his life, especially towards the end, was apologizing to him for things that I did or said to him while I was growing up. And I said, you know, I'll have all this time still to tell him that I'm sorry every time I walked out the room. And even when my dad was under life support, I didn't say it. He was like very close to dying and I didn't even say it, and I don't know why. I guess I still tried to hold on to the image of my dad as being a superhero and not being human. And so, when my dad came out of the coma, enough life support. I thought everything was gonna be okay again, like my dad made it through. My dad's a tough person, and I'll have all this time to tell him I'm sorry. And I didn't. It was too late. I got a call during class on Friday, and I was in the middle of class too, and my sister called me telling me that my dad passed away. And I was like, shoot, I didn't say it. I didn't tell him what I needed to tell him. And unfortunately, I had to tell him when he was already to his body, when they were basically ready to send him off to the funeral home. And it sucks because like, I hold on to a lot of guilt and regret for not being truthful to him when he was really sick. But I like to think that my dad forgave me anyways, because whenever I walked into the hospital, he would smile at me because we haven't seen each other in so long. Or he would call me randomly when I was in school, and I would say, hey, what's going on? Like, I thought something was serious was happening. He just said, no. I just wanted to make sure that you're okay. I just wanted to call and say that I loved you. Yeah, that was one of our last interactions. Was just 2 weeks before he passed away. He gave me a call after I got home to Ithaca, and he just wanted to know if I got home okay, and that he loved me. Yesterday when I was driving to school, I turned on the radio and his favorite song played again. What do you want? What's up? Okay. Okay, well, his favorite song played, and his favorite song is I Just Called to Say I Love You by Stevie Wonder. And I want to take that as a sign of my dad saying, you know, I got what you said to me, and that I'm okay. And I'm not painful, I'm not suffering anymore. I just want you to know that I love you. And so I'm gonna work on, you know, not holding that to myself or being a bad kid growing up. And, you know, I think my dad did really love me throughout my whole life, and I wasn't the best at recognizing it. And even to the very last day till he was alive, like, he would say, don't worry, you don't have to call me, you don't have to come down to New York City, like, I get it, you just do school. That was my dad. He wasn't selfish. And he showed his love a lot through actions rather than words, and I should have never put it on him to show love the way other people show love to their kids. But I guess I should leave with a story of my dad to end this all. But in summer of sixth grade, my dad took me to the Pier 17, the South Street Seaport. It's not there anymore, but it used to be a mall. I was like, Dad, I really, really want an earring. And we went to the piercing store. It was Claire's. And it cost, the cheapest earring would cost $19.99. My dad told me, I only have $19.98 in my pocket today. If you can go throughout the mall and you find a penny, I'll get you that earring. So I went, basement, first floor, second floor, out on the deck. Hard to find a penny. But I ended up finding one, found a quarter, and someone there was like, okay, let's go get the earring. And I got the earring. But I didn't realize till now that my dad, the whole time, had a credit card. And so I think I'd like to thank my dad for always taking every moment to show me that, you know, like him, you have to work for what you want. And obviously he did it in ways that were kind of annoying. But yeah, I'm really thankful for moments like that with my dad, even though we butt heads a lot, and my dad wasn't very vocal when I was growing up, and I'm gonna miss it. I really am. I think my dad's a good father, and most importantly, my dad's a human. And I'm really thankful that the end of our relationship here, he was able to show me and work to show me that he was human at the end of the day, and that he loved me. So thank you very much.